Welcome back to another chess video here, and today I got a special candy for you because I today adopted a chess streamer on Twitch. Basically, what chess adoption means is when you beat someone in a single time control 10 times in a row, and that's what I did with a random person that I found on Twitch. So, thank you, Twitch algorithm. Before we get on, I want to say that please support the creator that was the subject that was used for entertainment today, and please support him. Shout out to his channel, links in the description. Join my server too in the description, it's up there. Please do it, I beg you. Also subscribe to both of us. So let's get on with the chess adoption. So we begin our first game with the black pieces. We have d4, knight f6, knight to c3. Knight to c3 is an objectively bad move against with the queen pawn, because normally in the queen pawn you want to be putting the c and d pawns together. But in this case we have knight to c3, and if I see knight c3, I just go g6 and play basically kind of a King's Indian. So bishop to f4. Now he switches it into something that looks like the Jobava London, which is basically the slightly more fun version of the London, but I just instead go bishop g7. Now what most people do here is go for this, but it's quickly covered with d6, so that's probably the reason why I didn't go for it. Knight to f3. Now this is just a London system, but I am playing a King's Indian, so d6. This is just a standard King's Indian move. The engine can eat an entire franc. E3, castles, bishop d3, and knight b d7, and we have achieved a standard King's Indian position. That one was my move. Try to get the bishop out of the picture. He moves, I take, he takes, and then we play c5. This is one of the pawn breaks in the King's Indian. If they take you, then you have a very good bishop and a very good knight just fighting. And he doesn't take. Instead, he plays c3, which is a very good move. You solidify and try to blunt my bishop even further. Now, the computer here wants e5, which is never in a million years I'm playing that move, because the structure looks awful, right? No, actually, it's actually better for black here, because you can even just split your pawns like this, which is kind of a wild move to do. But I played the more human approach, which is e6, which is basically the baby version of e5, which is to bring the queen out, bring the a6 pawn forward, and stuff like that. He takes, I take, and now the bishop is slightly more open. And he goes bishop here, and I go queen b6, try to attack this pawn. He defends it with one of the most disgusting moves on the planet, rook b1. Knight to d7 and rook to e1, and I reroute the knight this way. Here we take that knight, and then after it takes, we go here, clamping down in the center. He tries to undermine it, which I put a rook behind it, saying if you want to undermine it, then you're going to have to do it on my terms. And here I played something a little bit of a gambit. Bishop to d7. This is a clean free pawn. It is. It basically is. But my argument is bishop to b5, which basically means that you're going to have to move, and then I'm going to take the pawn. And if you take, well, let's say you took this here with white, then I would go here, here, and then I would have a little bit of pressure, and then I would just trade like this, and I would basically fight against your isolated pawn and get a good position, slowly but surely. But instead of taking the pawn and encountering all these complications, he goes here. He goes here, retreats with the queen, so that allows me to actually just go here, get a queen trade. And after this queen trade, now we have bishop to c4, which looks very scary, but we'll just double up the rooks and we're fine. And after he attacks our bishop, we just take it. That was a very stupid move by me, honestly, but I thought I'd just go and simplify to an endgame. That was a very stupid move by me, but I did that, so that's awful. And apparently he had to take with the rook, and what I calculated in this position was something like bishop here. And if he took, well, obviously I'd take back like this. So, yeah. But it fell, apart to this, and I would just have to reinforce my bishop, and then takes, and I am a little worse, but it's probably still going to be a draw. But I did not want the draw, so that's... Anyway, bishop takes d4, c takes d4, and now has an isolated queen pawn, which means we can fight for it. After takes, you take with the pawn. My idea here was, let's say you attack the bishop, I will just take and, double isolated pawns. He takes, and then he offers another pawn trade, and that's where it all went south. You notice that I didn't actually take here. That's because after this, he would see this, and I would go back. So instead of, encountering all that, I just do it this way, setting up a little bit of trap. He sees it, I go backwards, and this is just slowly trying to win, slowly trying to convert this position. It wasn't the best, I will admit. It wasn't the best of my conversions, but it was like 3 in the morning. Every time I played these games, he would always stream at 3 in the morning, and I would have to just, king, that's just a little bit too much flair. Sacrificing the pawn to get all the other pawns. He didn't resign, which is very annoying, but I still was able to pull a win, and we got ourselves the queen on the next move, and if he kept playing on, I was going to cut the king off and make 2 knights, so I was going to BM him in front of his viewers, but that didn't happen because he resigned. Anyway, let's go to the next game. Okay, if the previous game was bad, 83.2, well, this one's even better with 92.2% accuracy. Some Grandmaster will be very suspicious. Anyway, so this is, I have the white pieces. We have d4, c6, c4, d5. The Slav defense, very reputable opening. There's a couple of variations. The semi-Slav is the most interesting one by far. But I take that all out of the window and play the move g3, which is basically the Catalan. What you try to avoid is going to be used to attack you. So basically, the Catalan will white wants, which is actually one of the most annoying weapons to face with black, is basically you are giving away a pawn for a very strong bishop, and the queen side for black is very delicate. So after bishop to f5, I just get my normal development, e6. E6 is not the greatest move if you've accepted the queen's pawn, just a reminder. Castles, knight d7, a4, this is just to prevent the move b5, knight to gf6. You'll notice it doesn't actually prevent the move b5, but after takes, there's all sort of discovered attacks after this, and there's like something like this, throw the pawn here, and then, look how quickly it can turn bad for black. Like, look how quickly it can turn really bad. So, yeah, you're going to be really careful if you accept the pawn. Knight g to f6, bishop g5, we try to pin the knight to the king, bishop to e7, knight to h4, attacking the light square bishop, and after h6 we exchange the knight for the bishop, because the dark square bishop in the Catalan is not actually this useful. Bishop takes f6, knight takes f5, doubling the pawn structure, and apparently the move knight to e3 here was possible to target the pawn, but I was still playing with the compensation, and I had to solidify my center, so e3, castles, queen c2, this is a standard move in the Catalan. You're trying to win your pawn back. And after rook to b8, I had to take the f-pawn. I took the c-pawn, however, because my eyes are more focused on the queen side. The engine is just c5. That's a very good move because you're undermining my center. But we have knight to c3, developing, takes. We have the isolated pawn, but we're going to play around it, putting rooks on the open files, opening up the bishop. Knight to b6 attacks my queen. I expected that move, so queen to b3. Queen to d3. Bishop takes d4. He takes the pawn back. And he takes the pawn back, he's up a pawn again, but the position is really not that great. Queen takes f5. We take this pawn here. Bishop takes c3 here. And basically, even though our pawn structure on the queen side is a little horrible, we can compensate for that with a very strong bishop and a very bad knight for black. So rook to c8 immediately gives that advantage right back because of, not the move bishop takes b7, which is what I calculated, but because of the move rook to d1, and after the queen moves, apparently just a5, which is absurd to find. I don't even understand the point behind it. So bishop takes b7 is a more, natural response because you're going to lose a pawn, so you might as well take another one. Rook takes e3, bishop to e4, going to threaten checkmate, g6. And after queen to f4, the move that they had to play was not g5, but actually queen to g5, which basically forces this queen trade. And then we would have to play this endgame out, bishop versus knight scenario. The rooks get traded. It's probably the guy with the bishop that's going to win. But unfortunately, he doesn't play queen g5, he plays g5. And this is bad because of the move queen f5, which threatens checkmate. There's only one way to stop it, which is rook to e8. And after queen h7, king f8, queen h8, I calculated for a possible mate here, but I could not find any mates, so instead I settled on taking the rook, and after this I took the knight, checked again, and checkmated. 92.2. I'm on fire, sometimes. Next game. So this is the third game. This is actually the one with the lowest accuracy, 75. I'll tell you why. It was 4 a.m. I was completely asleep. Like, I was sleeping while I was playing this game. But I had to pull through because I'm trying to adopt somebody in chess, alright? So, we have another Catalan. This time he's actually learned his lesson of not taking the Catalan pawn early to strengthen my bishop. But he's playing something that looks like a pseudo-Slav. I don't blame him at all. Bishop g2, e6, knight f3, c5, and he plays something aggressive here. Now, c takes d5 is absolutely top end of the move because, well, after all the exchanges and this, there's just going to be an isolated pawn, and there is an isolated pawn, and I will have to play against it by trading more pieces, making it more vulnerable in the endgame, because isolated pawns on the center are more like targets rather than assets in most scenarios. Knight to h4, though, tries to get the bishop. Knight g to e7, and that's a blunder because of knight takes f5. After this move, you just blunder the clean pawn. And after this, and it's pretty much steamrolling. Knight to b4. We take another free pawn. I'm joking. If you took this free pawn, I was worried about this move. But I forgot that the rook could move, and then I could go here. Again, little oversights at 4 in the morning. That's why it's a miss. Knight to that square. We go here. I basically tell him, come get the bishop if you want. You're not taking my rooks. So castles, knight here, takes, and then bishop develops to the e3 square, trying to de-isolate my pawn. And after this move, apparently I had the move e4 here, which basically facilitates this move. And then after this, I will just check here, which is... I'm not finding that at 4 a.m. After this move, and here, I decided to... Not that. Wait a minute. What am I doing? Okay, here. Yeah, find this move. Knight to a4 is a lot more human because there's actually thought behind this. You're trying to undouble your pawn structure. And then he hangs a knight for whatever reason, and I just steamroll the rest of the game. Just slow conversion. I favor it. We take a rook, and he was not resigning. I even sacked my knight here for the funnies. But, I mean, I didn't even want to calculate the mate. I just wanted to play. Here ran out of time. So that's the third game. Not pretty happy about this game, but it's a game. So let's go to the next one. So in stream number 2 that I joined to continue my adoption streak against Series Sans, he decides to play one of the openings I heavily despise, and I will keep despising for the rest of my lifetime, the London system. What I like to do against the London system is switch it back to d4, d5, and after e3 or knight f3 or any other response, I play the move c5, and this is a gambit. And this is a very much of poison pawn. Siri plays it because no amount of YouTube content has covered this, if he watched any. Because every single YouTube covers this one specific variation and what to do against it. But knight to c6, and the move that's top engine liked is this move, and then after, e5, and there's another gambit. But I don't really do well with that variation, so instead I go, after this here, he goes knight to c3, which is not a great move because you're trying to play London, kind of. And this just allows the very clean move e5, which just wins back the pawn. So after bishop g5, bishop takes c5, bishop b5, we have to move e4 here, moving the pawn out of danger. And knight g to e2 and a6, asking the bishop a question, takes. Knight to f4, attacks the bishop, and I leave it on this diagonal. This goes by far on the closest, one of the most satisfying London system distractions I've ever done. Because I love destroying the London system. I like to prove to myself that the London is just trash. So instead we have castles, and b3 for whatever reason. I guess you're trying to bring back the knight. And then h6, simple move, just passing the move back to the opponent. Yeah, it was to bring back the knight, apparently. So g5. I go bananas. For this one, I went bananas. I wanted some fun and entertainment. It was 3 in the morning. I want to have some fun. I didn't want to be too serious. I kind of underestimated my opponent here. Completely wrong for me. Like, you should never underestimate your opponent, even they could be like 900 points below you. Never underestimate your opponents. But I was tired. I wanted some entertainment, and g5 was my entertainment. My idea was to go knight h7 and f5, and after this, defending the center, he places knight here, and I lose a pawn like an absolute lunatic. Oh, yes, this is the one time where the adoption streak was actually on the ropes, because he finds the free pawn. And after I move my queen and I attack the knight, then he goes here, hanging the knight back. Oh my god. Oh, yes, I didn't even see the knight. And he doesn't see it either. I don't know what was going wrong that day. My day was very good, but the moment it hits nighttime, my stamina just goes off the window. I see the freaking knight eventually. Wow, that was horrible. And after that, I treat my bishop to the worst possible square. By the way, I had to do this. Never finding that in a million years. After this move, now he has not that. Oh my god. I didn't analyze this game on purpose. I didn't want the blunders everywhere. Wow. And I trapped his queen. Like in an instant. Oh my god. And then he moved and lost it for 2 pawns, and I went here, and then I went here, and I converted. Sacked my queen for 2 rooks, and he resigned here. That was the 1 out of the 2 times this run was actually doomed. But I come out and prevail, and we'll move on to the 5th game. Alright, the 5th game is a quick steamroller, another Catalan. Unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of the Catalan. I know it says a mistake, or inaccuracy. That's on low depth. If you go higher and higher in the depth, it starts to appreciate the move g3. Or it's going to say it's an inaccuracy. And you're going to see a lot of Catalans, I'm going to be completely honest. Once I'm done with the Trompowsky series, I might make a video on the Catalan, or a series. You never know with me. So, bishop to f5. We have another Pseudoslav. Bishop g2, e6. This is a Pseudoslav. This is many approved as like the slightly better semi-Slav because of the fact that your light square bishop is not actually locked behind, the pawns. Maybe not slightly better semi-Slav, more like slightly more developing semi-Slav because, the bishop is not trapped behind the pawns. And even when it's trapped behind the pawns, it actually serves a purpose of defending. So c5, we have again this variation. This time I go for castles. A different approach. C takes, knight to e7. We take the bishop and we go here, and then c takes d5, and this is the reason why this is a quick steamroller. So we have bishop takes, and you can probably understand why. Also, a little bit of instructive here. You don't have to just sack your queen here. You can just add a little bit more pressure, and then here, and he resigned. Like I said again, quick steamroller. Let's go to the 6th game. Next game. Another London system. I'm pretty sure that Serious Ends is going to play the London every time he sees his knight of 6 against d4. I'm still surprised he plays d4. I thought every single 700 that I see just plays e4 and just settles with it. No, this time I see a different person. I like how the engine recommends c5 right here, which is kind of funny. So, yeah. d5 again, we have the c5 gambit. I don't know, this doesn't have a name. If it has a name, please let me know. Knight to f3. Knight to c6. If they don't take your pawn, you just put pressure to it. Bishop b5, that's one of the moves. And queen to b6, putting pressure to the bishop and the pawn. Bishop takes, I take with the pawn. And we can actually just take with the c-pawn to undouble the structure. b3 defense, the pawns, e6, solidifying the structure. And for castles, bishop to a6 to take over the diagonal. Rook to e1, c takes. Now we can take the c-pawn. He takes with a knight, which is not a bad response, but the engine absolutely despises it for some unknown reason. Bishop to e7, knight to c3. And I can go for c5. After knight to f3, we have castles, and we just have a good position. Not the worst position I've seen for white, but it's a position. Queen to d2, knight to h5. We try to get a bishop here, honestly. Bishop g5, we have the move. That's a very Karpovian move, I have to say. So, I could have played the move f6, which I've actually considered. And after I didn't like the fact that he would just go here. like that. But apparently the engine wants g5. So I would just settle with, well, you're gonna trade with my terms. So he does take, we go here, and then there is, it's a very good move e4. But then I just push my pawn. There is nothing. There was something after this move, and then I would have to go here, and then there is this move. I completely didn't miss that idea. I just evaluated that it's not as strong as the engine recommends, because I get this very good square, but then there's like ideas with like undermining that outpost with a knight eventually. So that's the reason why I misevaluated this, but instead he goes back like this to try and reroute to b2 and then to c3. Queen to c7 and c4. I think he tried to get me to play en passant. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think he tried to make me do this. Anarchy just would be happy, but unfortunately I'm no longer 700, so e5. We lock down the position. Very strong center, very hard to break through. Your only chances are with b4. Right now it's not a great move because of the bishop backwards maneuver. That's wild. But we have knight to b2, exactly what we said. Bishop to b7 now, and the knight goes here. And this is just, well, it was a free pawn, but I decided to prepare it. Just keep my center a little bit more reinforced. And after this move, now we take the pawn again, and h4. Random pawn movement. You don't know what to do? Throw an h1. And I go f6, solidifying the pawn structure. And after g3, for some reason, which just destroys the light squares of your king. I mean, that might be just the death of the king, really, eventually. Knight to d6, rook b1, rook b1, rook b1. And you see, folks, when you leave your light squares unattended, some things can happen to it, right? Yeah, bad things can happen to it, and really bad things can happen to it. When you don't have a light square bishop, but I have a light square bishop, there's no reason to weaken your light squares. You don't have a lot of defense. Your pieces are stuck. You need, if you're gonna do g3, make sure there is no light square counteract for black, because I have a very strong light square bishop that's literally looking to your king. So yeah, I had plans to like undermine the light squares, try to get in, but like you made it easier for me. So yeah. Seventh game. We have another Catalan, gentlemen. You're gonna see a lot of Catalans. Trust me. Bishop f5, bishop g2, e6, knight c3, c5, castles, knight to c6. A little bit of a different approach. I go c takes d5 again. Oh, the sneaky move. Apparently I had e4. Knight to e3 is a bad move. I had e4. And if they actually took this, then apparently I had queen check here. And after you went back, I would win this. Did I miss that? Absolutely. The reason I did not like e4 because, well, he just takes. Well, I completely missed the move queen a4, which is a very common trap on the queen's gambit positions because the knight goes back and you can't defend it. In this case, still a bit more alternated because the knight gets taken by a pawn. I missed that because I'm an absolute doofus, but I play knight to a3, which is the, well, simpler approach for someone that's like tired and worn out at 3 in the morning. So knight takes d5, he takes the pawn back, and now I have rook to e1, preparing a fork. Queen to a4 check was a little bit better. According to the engine, after this move, I would queen trade and go e4 anyway, which is insane. Or knight check and get a good outpost. But I go rook to e1, which has a very simple idea if I want to fork you. And fork I do. Sometimes I just took advantage of the fact that some people just are tired. That's the good part about adoption. About chess adoption, because you can just take advantage of poor individuals that are just tired out of their minds. I'm also tired, but I'm 1700, so I know some basic stuff. So bishop takes, rook takes, and now this is just child's play. Queen f4 check now. just found it. My idea was if you went here, then there were like complications with pawn takes and bishop checking the king. But queen check and queen takes, and this is just child's play. I mean, you attack. You keep attacking, you keep taking stuff, doesn't matter, and you go back, you defend, and a little bit of reroutes every now and then. We take here. He trades down into a completely losing bishop and knight versus bishop endgame, and just bringing the king, and slowly winning, converting, targeting the weaknesses, and in this position he resigned. And that's the 7th game. Let's go to the 8th. So with 3 games remaining left for me to completely adopt this individual, I'm sorry, I that does sound aggressive. I'm not. I'm being comedic. I'm comedic for, like, YouTube. I have 3 more games. I gotta buckle up. So D4, Knight F6. I just wish, at this point, I wish he played this, which I could give a master class on the Trompowsky attack. But he never did. He played Bishop to F4 instead. And it would just be a steamroll of me playing this weird gambit, but he would find some interesting responses. I think he watched a couple of videos before he played against this, with me against this. So I think he watched a couple of videos or went to the Leech's opening database to see what he can do. This is what I genuinely do when I find stuff that I'm like very not knowing of. So knight to c6, knight to c3, copying a little bit of what I do, but it's fine. Actually, copying me here is actually a very good move, because the center has a lot of tension on it. C takes, E takes, and A6 is just a preparatory move. Queen to A4. Now that is what I did not prepare. D takes C4. I select the pawn. And by the way, you can still lose in this position. Queen takes here. This is what I, tried to, play. But I forgot that this is just a complete blunder. This, in my head, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to lose my queen. But I forgot that my knight can just take back. Hilarious, right? Hilarious. Just fucking hilarious. I play the bishop d7 a little bit pacing approach, because, again, it's 3 in the morning. Queen to b3. Yeah, this is generally what the advantage this guy had, because it was like 3 in the morning, and when it's nighttime for me, my stamina is, like, so bad. Sometimes. Like, sometimes my stamina could be so shitty, and you could just win just straight up by, like, stamina. So, yeah. E6, great move. If you take this pawn, I have a fork, so you can't take it. So, he didn't take it, thank God. Because we have the move E5, which is equally as bad. Because of knight to E5. Knight to the rim is Dim, but Dim does approve, and Dim is my friend in real life. This is just the winning of a bishop. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad while doing this, but I also feel refreshed. And after bishop to e7, then we have castles and castles. You see, I did not take the pawn. I did not want to be too gluttonous, I just wanted to keep a little bit of tension. And after this move, I decided to take now because my king is out of the center. You don't always have to take anything that you see. You can always just prioritize your king safety over material if you have a healthy material lead, like up a piece for like a pawn. After this, and queen to c7. I could have played rook to c7, but I was scared of this. But I had this. I'm embarrassed I did not find these things, but again, it's 3 in the morning, close to 4. I can't see anything. So, queen to c7. Attacks the knight. There is only one move to get out of this. It's bishop to e6, but it's a huge mistake. Well, not a huge mistake, but it's not the greatest move. Apparently, the move here was b5. But I was scared of this. And then I had this. If I found that in the game, you report me for cheating. Basically, if you take my queen, and I have to go here, and this, and this, I just, well, not like that with a bishop, I just have destroyed your pawn structure, and I've simplified. If you take the knight, you lose your queen. And if you go here, trying to defend, I just take. So it's kind of a fake brilliant move, if you think about it. But at the same time, I wish I found that in the game, dude. That was insane. But I did not find that. Unfortunately, no free brilliant moves for me in this run. And I would just develop like this. We defend the knight, and after this, we snap take this immediately. Some people here would play g6 and blunder the fact that their bishop could be hanging. So you just snap take if you have material, it doesn't matter. So here, reveal another trade, takes, and here, and like that. And this is just basic understanding, and I don't know what that bishop sack was. And that's it. That's the 8th game. Only 2 remain, and here we go. Game number 9. Folks, please stop playing the London system. I will just keep destroying you with it. Like, I will just keep destroying your London system until you have nothing else to play. You're gonna have to play with me in a theoretical battle. D5. Again, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that last game, dude. It's the fucking same thing. E6, same stuff. Knight to F3 and Queen B3. I mean, I'm just... There's a twist, though. I blundered. It's not spotted. And I immediately spot why I blundered. So, the move that wins the game on the spot is knight to b5, which threatens an unstoppable fork. Well, unstoppable is a huge term, but you can't quite stop this threat. So, he did not find that. And I pointed out in the chat, I was like, oh, knight b5, I missed that, that was so sad. I don't think he understood why knight b5 was good. But, yeah. C takes d4, and if you're wondering if he still has this, no, he doesn't. I'm just in time to close off the thing. And at the cost of a pawn, I chase away the bishop. So that's the reason why he doesn't have it anymore. Knight takes d4, and here we pin the knight. And we actually win the knight. But the engine is trying to be freaky. And I had this move. With this, and taking here, which threatens a royal fork. Did I see that? Yes. Did I want that to happen? I felt bad. I didn't want to do it. So, instead I took with the knight with the threat of discover check to try to win the rook. Of course, it's not spotted. And he goes here, and I go here, and I go here, simplifying literally every single thing, and takes the pawn. Bishop is threatened. You gotta go back, and I check you again, and here it's just a slaughter. It's just slaughter. And here, backwards bishop of trying to win the bishop. He has to defend. I go here, and I exchange. It's rook, bishop, and queen versus 2 rooks, bishop, and queen. It's just not winning at all for white here, and I castle, and there's nothing anymore. You could try to threaten the checkmate or threaten my pawns. I just defend everything, and there's nothing. A6 preparatory move to try and move the rooks out, and check again, and we'll move the rook out, and G6 is just solidify the light squares. The dark squares cannot be destroyed at all by the queen. There's zero help to come, so I immediately snap take the bishop. I go for a queen trade. He doesn't want it, and I force a queen trade at the cost of a rook. But then I start pre-moving like a madman, and I win on time. Did I have to sacrifice my rook for a queen trade? No. Was it good for the flair? Yes. For the funnies, it was. And that's the 9th game, which leaves only one left. Boys, this is the final game. Let's begin. All has been seen before. I don't have to go through this all again. We've seen this like 5 times in this video. I can't go through it all again. So, yeah. And again, the engine hates his decisions. Because why are you moving your pawn twice? That's what the engine is trying to say. The engine is trying to say that you're wasting time. So C takes, E takes, knight c3, knight g6, takes. Knight to h4, we have a similar situation with before, fighting against an isolated pawn, trying to get the bishop pair, and knight takes d5, trying to get the free pawn. Castles, and we take the knight, we take the queen, and I don't take the bishop because I forgot about it. Yes, the computer didn't want me to play knight takes g6. Did I find it? Yes, but I forgot about it. Rook to f8 though. I take the bishop now. We counterattack the bishop, so they can't take our pawn. And we defend the pawn with a very disgusting move. The engine wanted bishop to f3 or rook to c2. I did not find these moves because I was a dumbass. So, and I also wanted to keep the threat to the hanging pawn. Knight to g4, however, I cannot explain to you. You can pay me $1 million. You can literally subscribe to Twitch Prime and you can pay me to explain this move. I can't do this. I can't explain it. So, my only explanation is that you want this to happen. You want me to soften up my structure, but it doesn't even matter that I soften up my pawn structure. I'm a fucking piece. So, you want to know what the master plan is after rook to d2? And I counterattack the knight. You know, the knight has to move again, you know. Most normal human beings would move the knight back. But Siri is different. And he sacrifices the knight. Never in my life have I seen such level of intelligence. I'm not even being sarcastic, I'm being honest. The idea of losing the knight in one move is to lose the bishop and to lose the rook to take a bishop. And after this move, and I went here, he resigned. My only explanation for this entire sequence of moves is that he hated the Catalan bishop and he wanted to take it. That's no other explanation. Like, he wanted to take the Catalan bishop because he hated it. Like, he just hated the way that bishop was looking. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't. I legitimately do not know. So yeah, that's about it. So my first chess adoption happens to be a chess streamer on Twitch. Make sure to go follow him. Again, go follow him. Give him some support. I know that I've adopted him and I've probably embarrassed him a little bit. This is just fun. I mean, I'm not trying to make fun of anyone. Chess is a hard game, you know. Chess is a hard game, you know. You make mistakes. I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. It's just that chess adoption feels a little bit more refreshing, you know. I'm not making fun of your play. Don't get me wrong. I'm just farming content. So, I'll see you guys next time. Again, shout out to Sirius Sands. Go subscribe to him. Go follow him. Go join his Discord. Join my Discord too. Description. So, yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.